We love supporting and promoting the creators of musical theater throughout the world, and we would love to have your support as well. Go to musicaltheaterradio.com and click on the Become a Patron button, because a supportive community is a strong community. We love supporting and promoting the creators of musical theater throughout the world, and we would love to have your support as well. Go to musicaltheaterradio.com and click on the Become a Patron button, because a supportive community is a strong community. Good day, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Yovanov. I'm excited. We got somebody who's so incredibly talented. I've known her for a long time now. She laughs in the background, but it's true. You know it's true. She's like a quintuple or more threat. You know, she acts, she sings, she dances, directs, choreographs, and can do your taxes. That's right. She can do the old T4 time step, if you will. You know, she's that good.
I like that. The T4 time step.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing you to Aimee. Aimee, how are you?
Yes, I am good. I am good, John Paul. How are you?
I'm doing great. Aimee and I go back all the way to Sheridan College. We've known each other for a while now. I know.
In the land before time.
I know. The funny thing is, I just watched, I don't know if I got forced to with my family. Remember Nightclub Critiques? And you were in mine?
Oh, yes, I remember
Yes.
that. Like that's like another world, another lifetime.
I know. So
That's
for my
insane.
listeners,
I can't remember exactly what I did in it, but I do remember
you
it.
might not want to.
It was a blur.
So for my listeners, just let you know, when we were in Sheridan College, if you're in third year, you have to do a nightclub critique. So you got to do a set in a nightclub. Nothing to do with musical theater. It has to be pop or something that can be performed in a atmosphere like that. Well, I did mine on, I based it around sex. Just to let you know, I opened with I'm Too Sexy from Right Said Fred. I went into Sensitivity by Ralph Treviazet. And then I closed, and this is where Aimee got some choreography in the George Michael song, I Want Your Sex. You were in that one.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I remember now. It's all coming back to me now. It's flooding of memories.
I will pay for your therapy bills. Don't worry. All right.
Can I get that retroactive to the past?
Yes, I apologize so much for that. All right. So, again, it's great to have you on board. Now we're going back to the normal stuff that we should be talking about. So I always start every interview with getting my guests to give me their 30-second bio. So tell me about Aimee in 30 seconds.
Aimee in 30 seconds. Well, I went to Sheridan College for musical theater, and I ended up graduating and worked in film and TV as well as theater for a number of years, but kind of got a little restless and started studying, of all things, bookkeeping. And I did it through the CGA program, which was an online portal at that time. And being me, I couldn't just stop at the bookkeeping courses. So I took it the whole route and got my CGA designation. I had to work for an accounting firm. And then right after that, I got my CPA designation, which was kind of like the ultimate. So it was, it kind of came out of left field, but I'm really happy I explored that route.
That's awesome. You know, you've got the artistry and the practicality all in one.
Yes.
Great.
I like to say I'm an accountant by day and I'm a choreographer, director, performer by night. And it's the best of both worlds. Yeah.
That is awesome.
And I'm an Uber mom. I'm an Uber mom in the middle.
You have no time to sleep. And I'm surprised you found time just to talk to me. So thank you so much for putting aside.
I will always make time for you.
Oh,
always.
You are too kind. So let me ask, let's take it back right to the beginning. Were you always into musical theater as a kid, or did that kind of grow on you later?
Oh, no, I was always a musical theater kid. I loved theater from day one. I remember I did my first musical when I think I was 8. I did Alice in Wonderland and I played the Red Queen. I always loved being the bad guy. Actually, no, before that, I was in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in kindergarten, and my teacher wanted to make me the leader of the dwarves, and I was mortified because you know me, I got black hair and white skin. I thought I am Snow White up, down, and all around, but she didn't think so. So then instead of being the leader of the Seven Dwarfs, she asked if I wanted to be the evil queen. I went, yeah, I could do that. And a villain was born. I absolutely loved being the bad guy, even when I was 6. It was it was epic. So yeah, so you could say I've always been a theater geek. I love theater. So that's my thing. Yeah.
Awesome. So you grew up with that. Do you remember some of the first shows you saw that influenced you?
They're all the key ones. I saw Cats that was my very first like big musical that I saw, and I was sitting on the aisle, and at the time the Cats came down the aisle and scared the living bejesus out of me. And I was hooked at that point. And then I think the next one I saw was Phantom. And that also had a very profound effect on me as a young fledgling theater lover. But then there were some really strange ones. I got to see City of Angels in Toronto when I was young. It was crazy, and I got to see I can't remember his name. He played Greg in the Brady Bunch, and he played the Sam Spade character in. Yes, it was incredible. I got to see him in a very massive production, and I think I was like something like 15. It was amazing. It was an incredible show.
Where was that?
That was at the Hummingbird Center, I think. I don't know why my parents took me to it. For some reason, they thought, it was a really weird choice on their part, but it was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. But it also introduced me into theater that wasn't, or musical theater that wasn't as mainstream as the big ones like Cats and Phantom and Evita. It was like a lesser known musical, and it really introduced me to the idea that there was lesser known musicals, and that I should really be exploring that avenue, right?
So very true.
So
I've been wanting to see that show or direct it at some point.
I so encourage you to do it. It was amazing to see on stage.
Cool. So you got through the teens. You ended up at Sheridan, obviously, because I saw you
I did.
Sheridan College.
Yep.
Do you remember what you you auditioned with to get in?
I think the songs that I chose, my up tempo was Honey Bun from South Pacific, and my ballad, I think I actually blacked out on that one. I can't remember what I did. I was so nervous. I was only 17 when I auditioned because I graduated from high school early. I was ever the brown noser, and I think if they had a gifted program, I probably would have been in it. I finished high school really early, and I auditioned right away. And so I remember Honey Bun, but I don't remember the other song. And my monologue, my goodness, I think I did Connie from Egypt. It was a really weird. I was a nerdy librarian who went to see the pyramids, and I got butted in front of in line, and I came up with a really strange and gruesome way that these couples died because, it was a weird monologue, but I loved it. So that was my monologue. So, yeah.
Okay. I don't remember my monologue at all. Not a chance, but yeah. Yeah, I understand.
So
I'm always curious when people go to theater school what they use to get in, and you can, it's always interesting depending on when you went to also.
Like what year you went in and who you kind of went through that voyage with. So that was one that not wanted on the voyage. That was when
yes, I'm not even going to talk about that show because
I think we did that together, didn't we?
We did. Not Wanted on the Voyage. It's a Timothy Finley book that got turned into a play, and for my listeners, it was I played the Archangel Michael, and I played a sheep. I was a sheep too. So we must have been. You must have been my kid because Sonia Grundy was my wife. Sheep.
I was your baby sheep.
Right.
I was a baby sheep.
Man, our career at that school.
And the missing link. I was the missing missing link with, because Kim was Lucy, I think.
Mm.
And I was a missing link or something with her, like her. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I was your baby sheep.
That's so funny.
Oh, we had more connections than just
I totally
nightclub.
forgot about that. Oh my God. Yeah. I love that place, but they didn't know what the hell to do with me.
I feel ya. I was in the same boat. So
it's weird when like you go to the theater schools, and I'm pretty sure people who are listening who did go to theater schools, they find this out, right? The professors and teachers have their idea, and you've got your standard, leading man and ingenue and et cetera, and then you get to people like us, super talented, but don't know what the hell to do with us. Right?
Yeah, but you know
we don't
what?
fit anywhere, really.
I had a really weird experience in third year, because up until after nightclub critiques, like into my last semester of Sheridan, I felt like they didn't know what to do with me. I mean, I call myself the stillborn when we did Babies, bless them all, because I got next to nothing. I was like, okay, the third year show and I have nothing.
Yep, I hear you.
And then I did my nightclub critique, which for me was a lukewarm experience. And then I got into the last semester, and all of a sudden I got casted in Lend Me a Tenor by Christina James as Maggie, the lead. Wow. I got the lead on the main stage, and it was like, what? Are you sure? Like, and I think my entire year, all the girls were like, her? Are you serious? Her? And I was like, okay. And it was a great experience, but it was surreal, because I was always supposed to be that person who was, I was supposed to be the studio queen. I was looking for the crown, and I ended up being the lead of the main stage show, which was really, really strange.
Christina James, she was our teacher there. She was also at Stratford for a long time. There was a lot of people who felt, whether loved her or hated her, and that's neither here nor there. But she was always good to me, and I think what she always did was found the people that the rest of the professors didn't know what to do with, but knew there was stuff, because it's weird. They always said that I wasn't a singer, and she always went, that is stupid. And so she cast me in lots of shows even after Sheridan. I think she just knew talent, and we'll put them in the forefront.
And I adored her. She was the one who actually really introduced me to vocal technique. I wasn't the strongest singer either, but she taught me so much about healthy singing habits, and like Sheridan can really do a number on you if you're not ready for it. And she, as tough as she was an amazing teacher, and I can't say enough about her. She was always the champion of the underdog, always the champion of finding that special spark in every single performer that she could. So the lights of Broadway in Canada dimmed a little bit when she took her final bow, but I will always hold very, very wonderful memories of her. Yeah,
for sure. Awesome. All right, so you graduated from Sheridan. What'd you do after that?
Yes, I did some theater. I did do some musical theater, like summer stock and whatnot, and I ended up getting into film and TV as a stand-in and body double for a lot of Hollywood actresses, because I was small. I was the same size as a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so I actually, because I love theater, but it doesn't pay very well. And so I ended up getting more into film and TV and doing a lot of stand-in work, and then also a lot of commercial and day actor stuff, simply because it paid more and I could pay my bills and survive and whatnot. And so I still did theater, but I moved more to film and TV.
Nice. And any shows that we know that you stood in for? Any actors or actresses or people?
Well, the big one was Jennifer Love Hewitt on The Tuxedo with Jackie Chan.
Oh, The Tuxedo, yes.
Yes, that was a big one. And then also I got to be, I can't remember, I think it was called The Wedding Party with Ryan Reynolds and Michael Douglas, and is it Albert Einstein? No, it's not Albert.
That would be awesome. Albert Brooks?
No. Albert Brooks. Albert
Okay, yeah,
Brooks.
I always get Albert
And
Einstein and Albert Brooks mixed up.
I know. Well, he's so smart. He was so cerebral. And so, I was on that one, and I was on, I can't remember, Sister Mary Ignatius Explains It All for You. I was a stand-in. And Diane Keaton was Sister Mary, which was
Yeah, I
incredible
remember that.
meeting her. But there was a ton of, like, it was, and that was also like 20 years ago. So I'm like, I don't really remember.
It's okay.
It's so long ago. So I did a lot of body double and stand-in work on things like that. And then, I actor work on Warehouse 13 back in the day, and I was on Kids in the Hall a long time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was stuff like that that was thoroughly enjoyable, but another lifetime, I guess you could say.
Very cool. And then you're doing all this stuff, and then the bookkeeping part. What, again, tell us about the transition from that, how you went from performer to
Well,
doing
what
that
happened
sort of thing.
was I've always been quite a bit of a brainiac, and I took bookkeeping in high school, and my bookkeeping teacher felt I was a waste in the arts, but I told him he could go jump in a lake, because I ended up getting like a 99 on my bookkeeping course in high school, but I left it by the wayside. And then after graduating from Sheridan, I was working, and I found I had a lot of comrades, friends, peers, associates in the theater and film world who didn't understand their taxes, or they were being totally screwed over by their engagers because they didn't understand what was going on in their contracts. And they were just kind of signing contracts, as artists do, because they don't really read the fine print, and getting totally and utterly spent over a rail. Whether it was by the engagers or whether it was by the Canada Revenue Agency, just taking advantage of the fact that these performers didn't understand or know. And it really pissed me off that simply because they were artistic or they were more creatively inclined, that they were being screwed over. And so I thought, also for some extra cash, I'm going to take some bookkeeping and accounting courses just so I understand. But like me, like a dog with a bone, I just couldn't stop at one or two courses. And I ended up finishing, it's like in the CGA program, it's 5 levels of courses that you have to take. And it was a number of years, and I just couldn't stop myself. And at one point, the CGA program actually said to me, you do need to get your professional hours. And you're already at level 4, you've been kind of doing this for, shits and giggles, you should really consider getting yourself those hours. So I ended up taking a break from film, TV, and theater and getting a job at an accounting firm and getting my hours. And I finished off the program and got my professional hours and got my designation. And then the certified general accountants, that's the CGA, and the certified management accountants and the CA, the chartered accountants, decided to amalgamate, and they meshed into one lovely CPA, which is the chartered professional accountants. And then I got that designation. And so it really became a matter of me just being a little obsessive and wanting to finish what I started.
Yeah, that's great. Like it's such a useful skill set to have. No matter what business you're in, to be able to know how to do this stuff.
Honestly, it was a lot of really hard work, and it took a long time, but not terribly long, couple of years, but it was, now that I'm at a certain age and place in life, I absolutely, it was a part of me who was like, oh, I'm quitting. I'm giving up on my dream of, choreographing, directing, and performing. And I was a little bit disappointed in myself but I thought, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish off what I started with the accounting. And now it's given me the skill set that I can go out and do this work that I really, really enjoy. And I can help people, other like artists and other industries and businesses and whatnot. But I can still now go back to the arts, and I teach and I choreograph and I direct still, and but I don't have to that's not my livelihood. So I'm not desperate to get the next job, and I can enjoy the process. So it's given me the opportunity to go back to the arts, as well as I've I'm in a certain position now where I can actually fund the arts. I can donate back both my time as well as financial resources to projects and places that I feel deserve that kind of infusion of, say, capital, money, or my time.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible. That's congratulations on being able to find that beautiful balance between the arts and being in the arts and being able to pay your bills, and the happiness between the two of those makes such a difference.
And also being able to give back to the arts to
Yeah.
make sure that artists who are trying to have projects take off or launch, that if I get involved in those projects, I can contribute to them. I'm not a drain on them. I'm contributing, whether it's me, myself, with my time, or whether it's financially, I can kind of donate. I'm able to, and not feel like I won't be able to make my mortgage or car payment.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's delve into that. I love talking to you about the theater side, but I'd love to help all our listeners, all the artists out there.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask
Absolutely.
some questions. Now, we have listeners all over the world, the States, the UK, Australia, everywhere. So, there's going to be some general
of this
stuff.
might not apply to them. Yeah. Some of this might not actually apply to them. But
yeah, exactly. But I assume there's some general stuff that will apply to everybody. Like this first question I'm gonna ask. Like, what should you ask before we get into the questions about, the taxes, et cetera, what should an artist ask an accountant to see if they're good for an artist? What kind of questions should they ask?
They should ask if the accountant has an understanding of the industry, as well as the kind of expenses that the artist would be experiencing or needing to incur. If the accountant can be fantastic, but if they don't really understand what needs to go into it, whether it be professional development or whether it be certain supplies such as like character shoes or point shoes or very specialized makeup. If they don't know these things, then they are not going to fully understand, and then they may inadvertently disallow certain expenses that a performer is entitled to.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty important. Like, there's specific lawyers for specific things, and entertainment lawyer, business, etc.
Exactly.
So I guess, if you're going to be an accountant for an artist, you should know the arts at least a little bit.
I mean, for example, an accountant who's not overly familiar with the arts, or say performers that are on stage, might say, or like, for example, a drag queen might come in with these like costumes and the makeup and the accountant who's not experienced in that industry might say, well, you can't claim makeup, you can't claim clothes, what are you doing? But like, these are very specialized things that specific performer will need to do their job. So they are in fact deductible, but it is very particular set of circumstances.
Okay, well, leading into that, what can you claim? Like clothes and makeup and haircuts for auditions, etc. So
this is, for me, this is something that drives me a little bit bonkers, because I have artists who are clients of mine, and they'll give me like clothes from Winners or Walmart or like Lululemon, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, no, anything that you can wear. I understand that this might be something that you're wearing in the rehearsal hall or that you're wearing to an audition. However, if it's something that you can wear grocery shopping or to the mall or driving around or running errands or just every day, it's not really something that's deductible as an expense, because you can use it in your everyday life for anything. So unfortunately, like those lovely Lululemon leggings that you bought, they aren't really a deductible expense. However, if say you're a dancer and you have to buy character shoes or jazz shoes, like jazz block runners, or ballet shoes or point shoes, like a construction worker, those are very specific items that you cannot wear anywhere but in that space, whether it's on stage or in the rehearsal hall. So those types of things are deductible.
Okay. So, for example, if I bought a suit because I'm doing a show, and I bought the suit for the show, but I'm able to keep it afterwards, is that deductible or no, do you think?
No, but that would, you're buying a costume, But if it's for a show, like generally speaking,
Yeah.
you'd have to ask yourself, is there a costume department for that particular show? And have they asked you to purchase that? If they've asked you to purchase that, can they reimburse you for that expense and buy the costume off of you? If it's for a smaller production where you're putting on a show yourself, but your intention is to use the suit to go to a wedding or, to use in the office or wherever, that's a very gray area, simply because they tend to frown upon you just, like buying groceries and claiming that you're having a dinner party. I was like, no, sorry, you can't do that. But it's like, that's a gray area. If you're buying something as a costume and it's very specifically for that, it depends on what the production company is going to do for you.
Okay, because I know I always was torn because I used to DJ a lot, and that was my job, and I had to wear a suit to weddings. I hate wearing suits and will not wear it any other point in my life except for the weddings that I'm working. So I wasn't sure.
But that's very specific. If you have a suit that you have 100% designated to be for your position as a DJ and you don't wear it anywhere else, it is like the point shoes at that point. It is something that you've specifically purchased for that job. And you don't wear it anywhere else. Then
anywhere, even if I have to go to a wedding and I'm not working it, I guess you could sneak it in once or twice.
No comments.
No comments. I know you can't answer that. But no, I totally understand. Yeah.
It's very, very gray. It's you have to be careful what you're claiming for. I've seen some people claim absolutely everything under the sun, and it's unfortunately you're setting yourself up to be, if CRA were to, if the Canadian version of of our tax governing body were to come in and audit and look at your receipts, they'd very likely deny them.
And this is probably universal across.
I would say that's pretty much any government body that is implementing a taxation system. They're going to have very specific rules. And if you don't have a good argument for it, no.
So should I hold on to all my receipts though?
Absolutely. Keep everything. I sometimes even counsel to clients that they should keep their personal receipts so that in the event that they do get audited by the governing body, that they can kind of show, well, these are my personal receipts. These are like my groceries and my vet bills, and I went to see a movie. So these are all my personal, these are my business. And so you kind of are showing a history of behavior, like, this is how I conduct my business, and this is my personal life. So
and I know when I ran my own business for a while, the car is the one that gets really difficult because of mileage and things like that.
Yes,
I had to keep a log. Tell us a little bit about that sort of thing.
You should be keeping a log if you're using your personal vehicle for your business. Obviously, you're not going to be using your vehicle 100% for your artwork, like being an artist or a performer or any kind of arts, creativity. There will be a personal portion of that vehicle use that you use to run, do groceries, take your dog to the vet, go see family, run your children around to their various extracurricular activities. So there's going to be a percentage that is personal. And I try to counsel people to keep a log, like you've been doing a good job, Jean-Paul. Fantastic. Keep that log. To keep a log of, and it's not even, you don't have to track your personal usage, but what I try to advise clients to do is get your mileage on your vehicle at the beginning of the year, and then the end of the year. And then you'll have your total mileage, the entire mileage that you've used for your vehicle. And then throughout the course of the year, if you track what you've used for business, then you will know how many kilometers you've actually used for your business use. And then that percentage, the business use versus the total use, becomes your business use of vehicle. And then you can claim such things as vehicle gas, repair and maintenance, your licensing, your insurance, your tolls, your parking, all those things. But a percentage of those.
Yeah. Okay. And what about things like I use transit only to go to work because I work from home. So the only time I really
Right.
go out is when I go to my other, my other job, or if I'm going to the theater or I'm going somewhere. And I have my receipts from
Yes.
my things. So can I submit those and claim those?
Yes, you can. Those are travel receipts, and
Okay.
they're a documentation of your excursions to various, whether it's work on a specific project, or whether it's to go and take in a theater performance that you're required to go see as part of your job.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can claim those travel receipts as well.
Cool. Good. I've been holding on to those. That works out perfectly.
Good job. Awesome.
Okay. And how about like I said, I work from home most of the time. Are there
Yes.
home expenses that are deductible?
Yes, there are. You can have business use of home. Generally, what you do is you have a designated space. So let's say you live in a 2,000 square foot apartment slash home.
Ooh, that's nice.
Um, it is. That's sassy. Wow. 2,000
Wait,
square.
you're talking to an artist, right? So now
Okay, sorry.
what,
A 1,000
200,
square foot apartment. Let's go
200
1,000
square
square.
foot. If you're in New York, it's a 200 square foot apartment.
Okay, so let's say a 200 square foot apartment.
Perfect. Now I know.
Then I was trying to, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no,
So
let's be honest. We're all
let's
200 square
say
feet.
a 200 square foot apartment, then you have a corner of a room or an area that you use specifically for your business use, whether it's,
Yeah.
for example, you recording your show, whether it's a choreographer working out choreography in the corner, whether it's an accountant like me having an office space. Generally, there's a square footage that you would designate as your business use. So you have your total 200 square feet, and let's say that 20 square feet is used for this business use. Then there's a percentage of your home that you can use as a business deductible expense. Some of those expenses in Canada are your heat, your hydro, your insurance, if you own your mortgage interest, not the entire mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Let me be clear, because I get that a lot. Not the entire payment. Only the interest portion of your mortgage payment can be deducted. Your telephone, like a small portion of your telephone,
Oh
things
yeah,
like
I
that.
forgot about that. My phone.
I
Shit.
I don't encourage people are like, well, what about repair and maintenance? Because that is actually a line within the tax return for the T2125 of the Canadian tax return. And I don't encourage people to like write off, oh, I repaired my roof and I'm going to write off that.
Unless you're doing
No.
Fiddler on the Roof and you were choreographing
Well,
on the roof.
unless you within your space, for example, I had an individual who had a home office, and the window in his office had to be replaced because it started leaking. So that window specifically was for his office.
Okay.
And then he had to replace the carpet too because there was a huge leak. So his office needed to be repaired.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but if you go and buy a new fridge and you're like, but I use the fridge, it's like, no, sorry, no.
Oh, there goes
Yeah,
my whole
I've
plan.
seen a lot of things. I've seen so much in my day.
So, like you said, you could deduct, internet and things like that. But let me ask how it works this way.
But a portion of
a
it.
portion, sorry.
Because, yeah.
But you can submit this to you and you'll be able to figure that working with.
Yeah.
But what if it's not you that's like, I have internet here. I live with my girlfriend, but she's the one who pays the internet. It's her name on the bill.
Then I would say no.
No? Okay.
No, I would discourage that. If you're, but you do raise another point. You're in your apartment. I'm guessing you rent. You don't own.
No, she owns it. It's her mortgage. So yeah.
So again, that it's in her name. It's her mortgage. It's her mortgage interest. Okay. So you cannot deduct it.
Okay. So I should switch over some of this stuff. Not the mortgage, because I'm an artist. I can't do that. But the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good to know, because some of this stuff I didn't realize, or it's that gray area where you're just not sure. But you need somebody like you to
Yep.
point that out. What else? As an artist, are you a sole proprietor? How does that work? What do you list yourself as?
Well, it really depends. There's a couple different structures that you can take, and it depends really on the level of income that you're earning. If you're, say, a small shop, you're a sole proprietor, and that means you, the individual, are running this business as yourself, and all of your income and expenses are reported on an actual form within your personal tax return. The form in Canada is called the T2125 Statement of Business Activities. So all of your income and expenses and all of that jazz is reported there. Now, I've had some clients ask me, well, should I be taking a draw? Like, should I be paying myself from this income? And my answer is, as a sole proprietor, it doesn't matter, because how it's actually accounted for within your tax return is it's your gross income less your expenses. That bottom number, that net income, is what is counted as your total income as a sole proprietor or as that artist. So no matter what you take out of the business, it doesn't matter. That bottom line is that bottom line. So that's a sole proprietor. It's you as an individual. If, say, you decide to incorporate, you decide to create a corporation for your artwork, your performing or whatnot, the corporation is treated as a separate entity. It's an individual all to itself. And so you would be hired by the corporation to work for it. And so if you take money out, it's the corporation paying you, or you're taking a shareholder draw. So that gets a bit more complicated, but you would only really do that if you're making caboodles of income, which, generally speaking, for artists, I don't mean to be, it's not generally the case.
No, and
so
that's
depends on your income level.
As an artist, I think we all know there's the 1% of artists that make that caboodles and that sort of thing. So I was always wasn't sure whether I should have to register myself as an independent business or anything like that.
You should. You actually should get a master business license as an individual, as a sole proprietorship, or whether you have a partnership. That's also something that happens in Ontario, like in Canada. So you should register as a business, but it also, once again, there's a different type of registration. There's getting your master business license, which will help you with banking and whatnot, having a business account. And then there's registering with the government to get a business number through the Canada Revenue Agency. And generally speaking, what Canada Revenue Agencies, their party line is, if your gross income before any expenses are deducted is $30,000 in any 4 quarters, I usually say January to December for most people. If it exceeds $30,000, then you are required, they will automatically assess you as having to get a business number. So under 30,000, you won't have to register for that Canada Revenue Agency business number, that HST number, as it were. But if you do gross over 30,000, you should be looking at getting yourself that.
That's really good to know.
By the way,
but
it's like the big thing is it's the gross number, not the net number. I've seen some scenarios. I've seen, not my clients, but other individuals who were kind of sent up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, where they had been advised that, no, it's the net number. So one individual was operating under the assumption that his net number, as long as it stayed under 30,000, he was golden. Well, he was earning in the $225,000 range gross, and he got royally fucked over because Canada Revenue Agency came in and said, no, that was 30,000 gross, and you were way well past that. So they automatically assessed you.
So for a quick, because some people get them confused, net is what you make, and gross is what you make after deductions and all that.
No, it's the opposite. Gross is gross is it's gross. It's the gross amount.
Okay.
It's without any kind of deductions coming off. You've made, this is what you were paid. Let's say it's $35,000.
Yeah.
And then you have all these expenses, whether it's professional development because you've been taking classes, or it's, your vehicle expenses, your business use of home expenses, your supplies, whatever it may be. Those expenses get deducted off, and then you're left with your net income.
Okay.
Net of all expenses.
So if I always forget. Even when you tell me, I always forget. It's like so terrible.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay. So it is tax time.
Yes.
Is tax time. So the question is, should we use a free tax software or do our own taxes, or should we get someone like yourself? And what scenario would be better to do? Which do you think? Well, obviously you think hire me, but
me,
obviously,
obvious choice.
That's obvious the first choice,
no.
an option, but
no, not necessarily. Sometimes the free tax software is really good for individuals, one, who are a little bit tech savvy, which is becoming much more common these days. But let's say they just have a T4 or a T4A and an RSP slip or a donation receipt, something that's simple that they can do on their own. They're not to talk myself out of income or talk other accountants out of work, but generally speaking, those really simple returns, a person can figure out how to use the free tax software provided by various platforms that are government supported or recommended, endorsed, as it were. Those really simple returns, I think people can figure out on their own and could do with very little possible or potential mistakes. However, for a sole proprietor, it's a more complicated and involved form. And there are so many things within that realm that I think having a chartered professional accountant or a professional guide you in what one is or is not deductible, and to making sure that you're capitalizing on all your possible deductions. Because I've had a few instances where I've seen people not claim things because they weren't given the proper guidance, and they could have deducted so much more. Like, legitimately, they could have deducted more, but they weren't told to, or they did it on their own and they missed out. So sometimes it's worth paying a little bit more to have somebody give you that guidance and help you out and actually file that return for you, just to ensure that you're getting every possible deduction that you're entitled to.
For sure. Because I did it last year with the software system that my girlfriend used. Because she's a teacher, it's pretty easy. She's got her. Yeah. It's pretty simple. But I looked at my stuff and went, oh, good God, what do I do with this stuff? And I'm looking at the lines, 105, 109, whatever. I'm like, where do I put this stuff? I don't understand it. So
and you guys are the perfect example of what I just described.
I know.
Teacher,
and I do that.
Easy. Yours, not so much.
I know I have the business, but I do, freelance stuff, which doesn't necessarily, I'm contracted, right? I don't get a T4, so I have to figure out that stuff. It's just, so I'm going to come to you this year, by the way.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. So when we're done with the interview, I'm going to hire you to figure this out, because I can't do it. This is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense to go to a professional who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, because it's not always about, oh, I'm going to do it cheaply and I can figure this out for myself. One, you might be claiming something that you're not really supposed to. And then in the event that you get audited, then you have all these expenses that are denied. Or two, you're missing out in expenses, but you would never know unless you had somebody reviewing your tax returns or reviewing the slips, the information that you've submitted, and saying, did you know that you can also claim this and this and this? I just did that with a client, and she looked at me like I'd grown a second head. She's like, no one had ever said that to me. And I was shocked. I'm like, are you serious? Thank goodness she's growing right now. Like, she's about to become a much bigger choreographer. So she's on the bubble, and it was like, yeah, I caught you just at the right time, because this could have gone really sideways.
Wow.
But yeah.
So, and obviously because you want to be hired, but it just seems like an economic sense to pay for quality, right? And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
the software that you can purchase in the
Oh, there's
store,
absolutely nothing wrong.
and
And
it's
there's
great.
people that are perfect for that. Like your girlfriend is a teacher,
Yeah.
and she's probably pretty savvy at navigating that type of thing. And it's
Yeah.
fairly simple. She has a T4. She might have a T4A. She probably has an RSP slip. You know, she has those very basic things. They're very easy to navigate. They're very easy to find and enter. They make it as clear as mud. Well, maybe not mud. But the unfortunately for artists, it's their, I guess, platform or reporting requirements are more complicated, and it's difficult. Like it makes me very nervous saying to an artist, "Yeah, go for it. You'll be great.
You know, it's
fine."
It's better to pay for that little bit of security, and I think, and you know, artists are poor. We
Yeah,
all are. We don't have a lot of money, so anything little bit of
but
extra, we're
you're
afraid to
not just
put out.
hiring.
But
You're not just hiring somebody to help you with the initial preparation of the tax return. What if Canada Revenue Agency comes back? You have that individual in your corner who can then speak on your behalf, because you've got to make sure you've signed the proper forms that are submitted to Canada Revenue Agency. But you have that individual with the higher education and the higher knowledge in your corner, ready and willing to go to bat for you with the Canada Revenue Agency. So, you know, and I'm sure this format exists in other countries. It has to.
Yeah.
So you have that professional who knows their stuff, who's willing to go to bat for you and answer those questions. They also know what would need to be submitted. Like sometimes it's as simple as Canada Revenue Agency is just coming back and asking for supporting documentation. And I've seen people lose their mind because they're like, what do they want? What do they want? I'm like, they want your medical receipts. Well, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, I compiled it. It's right here. All these documents. That's all they want? Yeah, that's really just all they want. So we make copies. We submit it to the Canada Revenue Agency, and they're like, "Thank you. That's all we wanted." And it was as simple as that. I mean, I just shared an article on my social media about Canada Revenue Agency making $1 billion from auditing small businesses.
Wow.
And it was these simple things. They come in and they want to see like specific expenses. And if you can't support it, or if you don't have the documentation, they're going to deny it. And that's where that article comes from.
Yeah. Why go into court and represent yourself when you can get a lawyer, a professional, right? It's the same type of thing.
There is that saying, any person who represents themselves has a fool for a lawyer. So.
Yep. Because I've had CRA call me before from my old business, and at first I was like, the first time I was like, and then afterwards I went, wait, this is my own fault, A, and B, I can rectify this pretty simply. They like the people on the other end, they care. The people, the tax people that call you, you know, they're human. Right? They're not evil. Well, okay.
There are more. No, I don't want to diss the Canada Revenue Agency. They might be listening. I've had experiences where, you know, some of them don't give a crap. They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they do care. They want you to submit the right stuff. They're not looking to screw you over. They're looking for certain documentation. They're looking for certain support, whether, like, for example, it's medical expenses, whether it's donations, whether it's they want to see your supplies as a sole proprietorship. It's just they want to make sure, like, they don't want to see you fail. They just want the supporting documentation. They're not out to get you.
They're doing their job.
Also,
it's as simple as that.
The other things, and opposed to what you might get in terms of those phone calls, they are not going to send the police to arrest you. The Canada Revenue Agency does not do that. They don't have a justice department that they don't have OPP or whoever on speed dial and they're go get them. That's not how it works.
I don't know if they do that. Other people listening from other countries, you can let me know later on social media when you hear this. Do you have robo fake calls trying to trick you into your tax agency saying, you know, give us your money or we will send the cops after you?
Of all people, I got a phone call last week from, it was a number, and I love the United States. I'm not making any comments, but it was a phone number from the United States claiming to be the Canada Revenue Agency. Although he didn't say it right. He said the Revenue Agency of Canada. And I'm like, okay, what? And then he was like, you're in some serious trouble. I need your SIN number. I'm like, no. You're calling me. You have all that info. You tell me what I did wrong. Because you know what? I have online access to my account with the Canada Revenue Agency, and it's a 0. And he's like, no, you're in serious trouble. I'm like, you tell me what I've done. And he couldn't. And then, so I went up one side and down the other of that guy, ripped him a new one. I was like, you better not call here again, because I do know people at the Canada Revenue Agency and I do know people at the RCMP. So you check yourself and don't ever call here again. And you know what? They probably will, but there is, for those, okay, so that being said, if you do receive these phone calls and you see a phone number, there is something called the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. And you can submit those phone numbers or websites, or like, you know how you sometimes get texts from them looking for information?
Yeah.
You can submit it to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. And there's a center that they have started investigating this stuff. So don't feel you don't have any resources or rights. In Canada, you can most definitely report these things.
Yeah, if you're in UK or Australia, US, you probably have the same thing. So
there's probably similar resources because it's out there, right? So
it's crazy. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you want us to know that I haven't mentioned or anything like that?
Is there anything else?
Yeah. There's any one big thing we didn't hit on, or should people just contact you and they use your services?
Is there anything else? Well, see, here's the thing. I have a lot of people who ask me, okay, please don't do this to an accountant at a party. I don't know if I say this on behalf of every accountant out there, but if you're at a party with somebody that you know is an accountant, don't walk up to them and say, I have this tax situation, or I have this accounting situation. Just in your opinion, what do you think I should do? It's never that simple, one. Yeah. And two, we're at a party. You don't walk up to a doctor at a party and say, can you take a look at this growth that I have on my toe? That's one thing. But two, tax is like the weather. You change one small factor, it's like Canadian weather. It changes everything if you change that one small factor. So if you haven't given all the information to an accountant, and they give you a certain piece of advice and it ends up not being correct, it's not necessarily the accountant's fault if you haven't given them all the information. They need to know every single factor of what's going on. Even if you might think it's unrelated, it might actually be. And then they can give you a much more informed, diagnosis or opinion about the best course of action for you to take.
That's so true. So if you're at a party with anybody, don't ask them. And you know what?
Save it. Just say, hey, can I get your business card, or can I get your number? I want to give you a shout. As an accountant, I'd be like, absolutely. Sure. Here's my card. Give me a call tomorrow. Right now, I'm like into a glass of wine, and you probably don't want the advice I'm going to give you.
Drunk accountant. That should be the name of your new business, the drunk accountant. Let's start a side.
Well, it's funny because I live close to Wasaga Beach, and one thing I had a client thing is like, she said, you should do courses, and then you should call it Tax on the Beach. And we can come and sit on the beach at Wasaga Beach, and you can give courses. And I'm like, yeah, because that would go over well if we all get into the margaritas.
Exactly.
Like, my advice won't change at all.
That's awesome. Aimee, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today. And the advice has been just for me alone. Even if nobody else is listening helps them, it helped me. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
No problem.
I always, before we end my interview, I always ask 3 questions of the people I'm interviewing.
Okay.
All right. So there's no right or wrong answers, but there's a wrong answer. There's definitely a wrong answer, just to let you know.
Okay.
All right.
There's no right or wrong, but there's a wrong. Okay.
Oh, there's definitely
good to know.
Okay. So question number 1.
Yes.
Weber or Sondheim?
Sondheim.
And why?
Because of the emotional and psychological content that he gets into, how he delves into the psyche and the emotions of a character, the depth at which he goes, and the way he presents it, how he pieces it all together, not to mention how beautiful the music is.
Yeah. Okay. I always, it's just fun. It's surprisingly like 55-45.
Okay.
Because it just depends on where you're coming from, what country you're in.
Yeah.
Because they're
I've
so
always been
completely different, right?
They are. I've always been a Sondheim girl. So, yeah.
But I think what happens is usually you start off learning musicals through Weber, like you said, through Cats and Phantom and Vita.
Yeah.
And then you discover later, oh, there's Sondheim. And it doesn't diminish what Weber has done, but it's completely different, right?
He's almost like the gateway drug.
Exactly. It's so true. I always said Phantom was the gateway musical. And there's always every generation has their gateway musical. Phantom, Rent, Hamilton,
Exactly.
And as long as you get into musical theater and you enjoy it. That's awesome. Okay. Question number 2. What is the weirdest thing anyone has tried to write off or was able to write off? The weirdest thing.
The weirdest thing someone was able to or tried to
write off, yeah.
Oh, the things I've seen. That's a big, like I'm talking 6 feet tall foam penis.
Okay, that has to be business because what else are you going to use it for?
But it was deductible because it was a prop for a show, and it was like absolutely cannot be used anywhere else. That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen written off, and it was deductible because it was part of the show. There was even pictures of it, so it was like if Canada Revenue Agency decided to come in and audit, they'd be like, "Well, no, there it is," and they were like, "Yep, that's a part of the show."
Oh, that's awesome. That
Saying.
might be, that is weird. All right, final question, the important one.
Okay.
Audience members eating food in the theater, yes or no?
I want to. Can it say? This is loaded. I don't know how to answer this because I say yes, but not if it's a wrapper that makes noise. Like if it's in a package, peanuts, ice cream, anything that makes a crinkly noise, that's an absolute chip bag. Those are not allowed. I will, as a performer or as a director sitting in the audience and watching my performers on stage and hearing somebody going, I will come over and I will be up your ass. But if you brought food like a banana, like something quiet, I understand people are hungry. I mean, I've gone into theater where I forgot to eat something and I'm sitting there and I'm actually getting a little kind of dizzy because I haven't eaten something and I'm not able to focus on what I'm watching. So having something to eat would probably help my blood sugar and help me stay focused. But yeah, something that makes noise would be an absolute no, but I can understand why people would need to eat something.
I'll give you half a point for that one. The correct answer is no, but and I'll give you the reason why. I've moved on from just the annoyingness of the crinkling in the food. I've moved on to them leaving the garbage everywhere. Yes. Yeah. And that drives me insane. I go to shows. When I go to shows now, I take pictures of the garbage and post it because I'm so angry. Like I went to Anastasia and 2 women had like 6 cups and garbage on the floor beside them. I went,
yeah, but that's just rude. That's like.
But if there was no food in the theater, there wouldn't be a mess either. So.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But I'm like, I'm torn because I've been in the position where I really needed to eat something and I wasn't allowed to bring anything in. And I'm like, oh, man, so I had to pound a slice of pizza like it was no tomorrow. And then I did not feel well going into the theater after that.
But you didn't leave the pizza crust on the floor when you left, right? picked up.
No, I ate the whole thing.
Exactly. But people
Obviously.
leave stuff everywhere. It's just disgusting.
I know. People are savages.
I know.
Savages.
Savage. I know. But none of my listeners are though.
But
Those are
you
always
didn't
good
tell me if I got points for the other two. Did I? Like, you said there was no right or wrong answers, but there was, and you didn't tell me.
Well,
How did they?
The Sondheim Weber one is an opinion, so that one I just go
yeah, sure. Yeah,
and the weirdest and the penis answer, it's always right. How can you be wrong with
That's
that
a
one?
win.
That's always
can
a
I get
win.
can I get 2 points for that one?
Fine.
Make
All
up
right.
for the other question?
So out of 3, you've got 3.5 because I gave you points
yes.
for the last one.
I'm always always an overachiever.
But as an accountant, should I worry that you got 3.5 out of 3? Can you do that? Can you get us? Maybe
you can
that's
get
good.
bonus points. It is.
You're the best.
Because I do my
if you
research.
Can do that.
Well, because you can get bonus points. I know my kids work for getting bonus marks in school, so you can always get bonus marks.
Well, if you can put that towards the accounting and get money back, that's even better.
Well, it's not so much putting it towards the account. It's knowing if I don't know it, I will always research it. So that's if you come to me with a question, Mike, I may not know that, but I know the resources where I can look, and for my own sake, I will always try to find the answers.
That's awesome. So when you're out there, if you're looking for an accountant, this is the type of accountant you want. Someone who is willing
the super anal one who will like just saying, but I'm a pain in the ass because if it's not deductible, no amount of cajoling from you is going to change my mind.
Hey, I personally would rather have somebody who does that. You keep it down.
Your dog is not therapy. I know you love your dog, but you can't claim dog food because it's therapy. Sorry. Not, unless it's a therapy dog and that's specifically what it's for, but you can't claim it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I don't have a dog, so I'm okay. So that's not too bad.
Oh, well, you're good. No hamsters either. Just saying.
I'm a guinea pig man, so I don't have them, but I love them. So
that's a completely different story, and I don't know if I want to know about that.
Well, maybe we'll save that for another day or off it.
That's another conversation.
Awesome. So if people are in Ontario and they're looking for help with their taxes, how can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on my website. I believe I'm on LinkedIn as well as Instagram as well. My full name is Aimee, Aimee, Lococo Sarabura. Wait for it. LOCOCO SARABURA. That's on Facebook. My website is lococosarabura.com. So you can find me there, and there's a little you can message me right now on the website. So it's the same LOCOCOSARABURA.com.
Well, that's perfect. And if you have not written that down because you weren't prepared for it, you can head to our website. We have you listed under our resources section. So
thank you.
No problem. We've had that on for a while, and I finally get to talk to you. So yeah, if you want some more help, or if you're in Ontario and you need an accountant, that's great for artists. Go to our website, the resource section. Just click on Aimee's link. We're also going to share it on our social media all the time. So that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Somebody will be able to find you if they need help. Aimee, thank you again so much for talking to us
problem
and the information. And yeah, when we go off the air, I'm going to need help. So we'll talk about that as well. And I will start paying for your therapy from what we did back in Sheridan as well.
It's part of my dark side. It's all good.
It's good. I like it. All right. Awesome. So that was excuse me, Aimee Lococo Labra. Wait, no, Aimee, you say it. I always say it wrong.
Aimee Lococo Sarabura.
Sarabura. Awesome. It's easier if she says it. So, thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week to hear our latest person talk on Be Our Guest. Tune in next week because we never know who we're going to have, but somebody who loves and their passion and life is musical theater. My name is still Jean-Paul Jovanoff, and I will see you when I see you.